What's happening, guys? I'm Tekke. Welcome back to another episode of PC Wars. If I'm being honest, I kind of forgot about the series. But fear not, we are back in action. We're going to be looking at some underwear dropping, saliva drooping custom PCs that have been submitted by my subscribers. So if you guys want to participate for the next episode, make sure to watch the video link below to learn how to enter. So with that said, let the PC Wars begin. Are you guys always afraid of someone stealing your personal data while you're online? Well, have no fear. Dashlane is here. Dashlane makes it super easy to manage everything. They autofill all of your personal info like addresses, credit cards, passwords, and more to make it super convenient to check out. You can also auto-generate super secure passwords, and everything is encrypted, making this the safest place to store all of your sensitive data. I also love this new feature from Dashlane called Dark Web Monitoring. This basically allows you to receive alerts if your personal information is found leaked on the dark web, where it may be available to spammers and hackers. On top of all that, it even has built-in VPN as well, so you can browse safely and privately on insecure Wi-Fi networks. With Dashlane, you're getting a password manager, VPN, and dark web monitoring for less than what just one of those services usually costs. So go ahead and try Dashlane for free on your first device by visiting dashlane.com/techsource, and make sure you guys use the code TechSource to get 25% off Dashlane Premium. Kicking off the episode is Dan from Philippines and his modest custom budget build. At first glance, you might think this is actually a high-end rig, but what if I told you it's rocking the Ryzen 5 2600 and the Sapphire RX 580? Dan definitely knows how to treat a PC regardless of the price. A true gentleman and enthusiast. I also want to give Dan some props for taking the time to bring his PC outside in a natural light to take these beautiful pictures. Dan, if you're watching, I want to kiss your shiny forehead. So the PC is built inside the Corsair Carbide 275R case, which has been slightly modded. And fun fact, according to Dan, my channel has inspired him to turn his interest for PC building into a passion. And he's been building PCs for different people. That's what I love to hear. Some mods include custom cables and custom painted GPU to match the awesome white and blue theme he was going for, and I think he did an excellent job balancing the colors. Thank you, Dan, for entering, and please do continue your passion of building PCs. Up next is Isaac from Arizona and his Razer-themed custom water-cooled PC that he uses for gaming and landscape photo editing. We got the Ryzen 7 2700X paired with an Asus Strix RTX 2080 Super. This build is actually almost anti-RGB. We do have some green lighting from the RAM sticks and the GPU block, but the rest of the lighting is set to white, and it bounces off the UV green coolant, which looks immaculate at night. I was gonna say that I prefer going with black fittings to match the color scheme, but there's something about the lights reflecting off the chrome fittings that works really well with this build. Plus, it looks pretty badass in your setup with the nanoleaf panels and the other UV decals you got going on. And finally, for the enthusiasts watching, let's take a look at the temps. So Isaac overclocked the 2700X to 4.3 GHz on all 8 cores and an extra 120 MHz on the core clock for the GPU, with some pretty chill temps. We got 60C on the CPU and 40C on the GPU on full load. Awesome UV custom loop you got here, Isaac. Thank you for entering. And number 3 is Kevin from Germany and his white on black dynamic O11 build. Now he uses this PC for gaming, media consumption, and sometimes home office work. We got the 9900K in here with 32 gigs of RAM and the Aura's RTX 2080 Super mounted vertically. It's such a clean and powerful PC, but it's got one minor flaw. Have you guys noticed it yet? Yep, the fan configuration. This is what we call negative pressure, where there is more air leaving the case than there is entering in it. I know you wanted to show off those sexy Corsair fans, but you're doing that in the cost of better cooling. I recommend swapping the fans and using those 3 up top as intake against your radiator, and put the 3 Corsair fans up top as exhaust. That way the RGB lighting is still visible. Other than that, I think you built yourself a sweet looking system, and I'm glad you overclocked that 9900K to 5 GHz to take advantage of that extra performance. Thank you, Kevin, for entering. Next up is Mayank from India and his heavily modded 570X case. As you can already tell, he painted the entire case in blue with some orange accents. Definitely one of the more unique color combos I've seen. If I had to guess, I would say Mayank was going for an Overwatch color scheme. I mean, if that were the case, pun intended, I would have liked to see some Overwatch decals or mods to kind of complete the look instead of relying on just the colors. So the PC has an i7 7700K with 64 gigs of RAM, okay, and the Asus Strix GTX 1080 Ti. I guess the RAM makes sense since he uses the PC for 3D CAD design and sketching along with gaming. At least Mayank has the correct fan configuration. He has 3 fans in the front as intake and 3 fans as exhaust.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I do have to say that once you paint the entire case a specific color, then you have to commit to the color scheme. There is no going back. So if you decide that you get tired of the colors later down the line, you have to repaint the entire case or buy a brand new one. Thank you, Mayank, for entering. Next up is Tekke from Italy with a gorgeous modded water-cooled build inside the Noah Iron V9 case. He's calling this the Ice Age project, and he built it for his YouTube channel, which you guys should check out. I'll drop a link down below. The first thing that caught my eye was the insane detail of that side panel. I don't know how you made it look like it was frozen, but it looks pretty damn sick. But the inside is just as impressive. I love how this PC wasn't overdone. There isn't a bunch of RGB lighting or flashy mods done to it. Sometimes going with a simple approach is all it takes to make it stand out, and I think this build is the perfect example of that. We got a really nice color pattern on the custom cables, a sweet custom backplate on that RX 580, and clean bends all around. I also love water-cooled builds in mid-tower cases because you are forced to not only be creative in how you're going to fit all of your water cooling gear in such a small space, but you have to be precise as well, using the correct lengths of extensions and sharp bends to make it all work. And I think Tekke did an exceptional job overall with this build. Thank you, Tekke, for entering. So these next 5 builds are excluded from the contest because they are in a league of its own. They belong to Corey, who's actually a buddy of mine, and he goes by the name of IFR. Chances are you probably have heard of him. He has a YouTube channel dedicated to doing crazy PC builds, so definitely check him out if you guys want to see more of these. Starting off, we have his personal rig that he uses to game and run his channel. It's built inside the Cougar Conquer case, which has been powder coated in gold, and we got the i9 7980XC, which was the same CPU in Big Red before I gutted him. May you rest in peace. He's also got 32 gigs of RAM and the MSI GTX 1080 Seahawk graphics card. If Goldmember were into gaming, I would probably build him this PC.
I love gold!
One of the interesting things about this build is that he's using only a single 360mm rad to cool both of the blocks, but since this is an open air chassis, maybe thermals might not be affected as much. Also, he does have 3 separate reservoirs to help dissipate some of that heat. Either way, I'm surprised you didn't show us any temps under load. I'm kind of curious now, so after you're done watching this video, DM me the temps of your CPU and GPU on load, please. Remember how great the last Jurassic World was? Me neither, because it didn't happen. It was a pretty bad movie, but luckily we have a custom PC that's actually better than the movie. A Jurassic World modded custom loop inside the Thermaltake View 27. I personally think this tower was the perfect choice for this build since it doesn't have a top cover, and once you remove the side panel, it becomes an open air case, which perfectly resembles the outdoor theme park. Lots of custom paintwork and laser etching went into creating this case to give it a jungle theme, and even the cables have been painted to resemble this deep in the jungle muddy look. My personal favorite mods in this case have to be the GPU backplate, which has a couple of dinosaur eggs on there, and this giant T-Rex scratch with blood oozing out of it on the front panel of the case. You really have to look closely at this build to appreciate all the small details that went into this mod. Phenomenal work. Here's a build for those Rocket League fanboys out there. An orange and blue custom loop inside the Cooler Master H500P. I love the small black spots all around the case, which resembles car oil, I think, and the fake grass as the PSU shroud is genius. Although I don't know how I feel about the acrylic piece shaped like a battle car in the front. It sticks out too much, and I feel like it doesn't go well with the build. Personally, I think an actual battle car collectible would have looked better on top of that grass. Everything else about this build is spot on. I especially love the acrylic Rocket League logo on the side with RGB integration that resembles the laser force field in the game. Very nice. And here we have a ridiculous high-end gaming PC built inside the Lian Li DK05 desk. It has the i9 9980XC with 128 gigs of RAM and the Asus Strix 2080 Ti in SLI, with 2 separate loops and 2 massive distro plates on each side, which he custom made using his CNC machine. This looks like a black and purple build with silver accents and RGB lighting. There's definitely a lot going on here, and I just love how the chrome fittings and the tubes give this build a premium look. Well done. And last but not least, we have another Overwatch theme. Or I guess it can technically be Rocket League too, since they both use the same colors. But this build is really interesting to me because of the case. This is the Thermaltake Core P7 with the optional modular pieces that Corey added to the sides. And you can use these pieces to position it in any angle you want. He also made custom distro plates for both of the doors, as you can see, with lots of vinyl work. I would have loved to see a full loop in this build with a GPU block as well, since you do have two full 360 radiators. But overall, a very unique build. Thank you, Corey, for sharing all of these with us. So aside from Corey's builds, which of the other 5 PCs was the best from this episode? Make sure you guys vote in the comment section or click on the poll on the top right to cast your vote, and let me know in the comment section why you chose that PC. If you guys think you have an awesome PC to share with the world, then consider participating. Watch the video link below to learn how to enter. If you guys enjoyed the show, make sure to smack that like button, and as always, I will see you guys very soon in the next one.